welcome back to the Right Now Workshop podcast, where you can write a book and change the world. I'm your host, Kitty Bucholtz, and this is episode 293, Looking Forward, Not Back, an encouraging words episode coming to you on Sunday, January 4th, 2026. It has been a long time since we've talked to each other, and I've missed you very much. It's been almost 3 years since I was doing the podcast regularly, except for one episode last March, writing about real charities. In case you wanted to check that out, that would be episode 292. And even though I've missed you and I've wanted to come back, I just haven't had the energy to put into podcasting. Um, my continuing struggles through burnout and then perimenopause and now menopause. Plus, a friend of mine got me to start reading a lot, not only about menopause, but more recently about ADHD in adult women, which is very interesting. I have no interest in getting tested or doing anything official with that. But reading about ADHD in adult women has opened my eyes to the fact that a lot of those challenges I relate to. And my friend thinks, Kitty, maybe that's something that you have been, mm, not to say struggling with, but maybe it's something that you've been dealing with your whole life and you just didn't realize it. In which case, it doesn't matter to me one way or the other. I don't care. What I do care about is that the way that my life has been going the last few years has basically the word broken is probably the word that I have used more than any other word to describe it. And now I look back and think, okay, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong in many ways. Okay, on and off again for the last probably 10 years. Um, and I just kind of lost my ability to cope with continuing change after continuing change after continuing change. But what I'm finding is that when I read about ADHD challenges and more importantly, the tools to work with those challenges, I'm finding, oh my gosh, those tools will totally work for me because I'm definitely experiencing a lot of these problems. So maybe if you're like me, I have no idea about ADHD and how it relates to me, but what I do know is that all the skills that all of us learn individually to cope with life, sometimes they just get out of whack. Things happen, or a lot of things happen, and then you have to figure out. I think it might be like when you're juggling all the plates and you're keeping them spinning, but when they break and then you have to put a new plate on and get that one spinning and then try to get another one up and spinning again and that sort of thing. That's the work that I didn't know how to do. Um, that's maybe a good analogy. So maybe these analogies are helping you to think about things in your life and maybe consider looking into tools for coping and strategies for dealing with challenges with ADHD to see whether or not the tools will be working for you, regardless of what the reason is that you might have a challenge. So anyway, I will surely be sharing more of this as we continue together again regularly. Yay, I'm so excited. I've missed you so much. Um, and hopefully, I will share with you tools that will be helpful to you as a writer and just as a human being. So, also, reading about all these things and thinking it through and applying it to all of my life. And most of the time, I'm usually thinking about my whole life, and I'm always thinking, and specifically my writing life. It makes me think about a lot of the stuff that I've learned from Becca Syme. If you don't know Becca, she is Becca Syme, Syme, from betterfasteracademy.com. And she also has a Patreon page, tons of helpful information, a lot of it free. She has a YouTube channel, and it also goes out to podcast apps if you listen on audio podcast only, which is how I do it when I'm at the gym or something like that. I want to tell you where to find her in case you haven't heard from her. She has really interesting discussions about energy pennies, she calls them. And I think just in the last couple of weeks, I listened to her talking about she might have said she was going to change it to something else, not energy pennies, but energy something else. Anyway, it's the idea of what gives you energy and what sucks your energy away. So when I'm actually recording the podcast, like let's just say that if the day is $1 worth of pennies, so 100 pennies, I easily get 5 or 10 pennies just in the recording of this podcast, talking to you and being excited about what we're talking about. Now, sadly, putting the podcast together and adding the opening and the closing and uploading it and creating a little, paragraph of description and what are all the other things? Trying to figure out whether or not I can figure out a way to do a transcript that doesn't cost me a ton of money or a ton of time. Um, all the pieces, there are so many pieces involved in putting a podcast together. And the most fun part is the recording for me. It's sort of like writing. The most fun part is the writing, but then there's all the other things you have to do if you want to, edit a book and make it readable and then put it out into the world so that people can read it and then market it so that people know that the book exists. Like it's just a lot of pieces. So anyway, all of these things I'm just giving you as examples with energy pennies. So the idea that this gives you energy and this takes away your energy, and altogether at the end of the day, you need to absolutely not be in a deficit because that is what leads to burnout, depression, anxiety, all the things. And I'm sure that you understand. And if for some reason you're lucky and you don't know what I'm talking about, Kitty, um, then you can listen to me talk about it on previous episodes, especially the last 5 years. So, episodes from 2018 forward, that's when things really started breaking down for me. And I have a lot of ideas about what the reasons are. But anyway, I wanted to share all of these things with you because we have a new year and there are, we're trying to figure out what are we going to do with our time this year? What things do we want to accomplish? What are our goals? How can we break down our goals into pieces that we can be like, okay, I did this piece and this piece and this piece, therefore that goal is done. And one of the other things that I learned from Becca is what questions should you ask yourself? Now, I've heard these questions in other contexts, like with entrepreneurs and that sort of thing. The way that Becca asks is, what should I keep? What should I quit? And what should I question? So, what things should I keep doing? What should I quit doing? And what should I question? Like, is this really what I should be doing right now, this way? That sort of thing, whatever the question would be. So, for instance, a few weeks ago, I quit allowing notifications on the 500 apps. Seriously, I have like 150 apps or something. More than that, I think. Anyway, on my phone, the only reason I know is because if I don't update them for a long time, it says you have 99 apps that need updating. You have 117 apps that need updating. And the number keeps getting higher and higher until I do it. Um, Whew, so much energy here, and I have to focus my thoughts. So one of the things I did was I turned off notifications for 95% of the apps on my phone. And within a day, I felt so much calmer. Like, okay, I don't know. It just, when I wasn't having my phone constantly beep and saying, this is happening, and you should know about this, and here's the headline, and somebody just, commented on your post, and it was just too much. It was just too much. So I feel so much better about that. Other ways that you might have heard these questions, what should I keep? What should I quit? And what should I question? Might be, what should I start? What should I stop? And what should I change or add? So you might have heard those questions just in a different context. A lot of business books would put them that way. For me, restarting this podcast, yay, is one of the things that I am starting up again and very, very, very happy about. So I hope that you are also happy to see me back again. One of the things that I'm changing is how I'm focusing the podcast. So, for instance, there's going to be more episodes with me talking about something that I think could be helpful to you. Possibly at this very fast pace. And I want to keep on encouraging you with here's my shirt. I'm a writer. What's your superpower? Your writing is your superpower. And I hope that you know that, believe it, love that about yourself. It's what I am always encouraging myself to be thinking about, focusing on, believing. And it's what I want to focus you on. It's what I want you to focus on believing is that writing is your superpower. And if you're just listening for some other reason, then hi, glad you're here. And I'll be talking about writing most of the time. Um, yeah, and so I'm going to move away from episodes that are more for new writers. So I probably won't be interviewing people who are putting out their first book or haven't had a book out without the if I do, it'll be because the topic is about something else that I think could be really helpful and interesting to you. I personally feel the need to surround myself with more intermediate writers like myself, people who have been writing and publishing and are just trying to figure out how to juggle it better, how to do it better, how to enjoy it more, how to get back into it if we've taken some time off for whatever reason, how to get our joy back if we've lost our joy. And so, not that a lot of that stuff won't be interesting and helpful for new people, but when I listen to a podcast and it's been this great interview, it's encouraging and I feel really good about it. And then the podcast interviewer says to the person, what advice would you give to brand new writers or newer writers? And I'm thinking, "Oh, okay, you just ruined this whole thing for me. This is just me talking. I just feel like, oh, that is not a useful question to me. I don't care what you what advice you're giving to new writers. What advice are you giving to the people who are trying to keep on slogging through? So hopefully you, if you're in that position, hopefully you're thinking, yeah, that's good. I want to hear what advice would you give to intermediate writers in the middle of it all right now. If you're thinking that, then stay tuned. We're going to keep going with that train of thought. And if you're new, great, listen, you'll learn lots. And also, there's a lot of podcasts out there. So thank you if you're listening to this one because I'm really honored that you've given me your time this way. And I want to honor you by giving you something that you know what to expect and that it's what you're looking for. So if this turns out to be not what you're looking for, totally cool. It's nice seeing you again, and we'll see you whenever. But if this is what you're looking for, then let me know. I would like to know more about this. I would like to hear somebody's opinion on that because for me, listening to people talk about how to keep going, how to get their joy back, how to get out from under the avalanche of a growing to-do list that only seems to get bigger instead of smaller, productivity tools, systems, managing all of the pieces. These are the things that I need to talk about, listen to, get other people's opinions and advice, share what I know with other people who can use that kind of help. So that's the focus that I am changing the show to more intermediate published writers and their needs. So probably fewer interviews, though I do have some interviews. Oh, so sorry, but I was just my head and my body and my brain were not working for a really long time. I stopped mostly being embarrassed about it because these things just happen. Especially, if you're a woman, it is going to happen to some degree going through menopause and that sort of stuff. It was just really, really, really horrendously bad for me. um, couldn't get through. So anyway, I had done some interviews and never got them published. So I'll be doing that. I do remember that they were interesting interviews. So yay for that. And then I'll be continuing to publish because I'm trying to get back into this because I love it and it gives me energy and makes me happy. But I'm also still struggling with how to manage uh, the amount of brain space that I have day to day and what I can get done and what I can't get done, and making sure what I choose to do is sustainable and doesn't push me back into burnout or anxiety or, any kind of overstress situation like that. And I'm going to be sharing as much as I can with you so that you also can learn from my mistake. Don't follow, just learn from my mistakes. Anyway, because of all that, I can't tell you exactly how often that I'll be publishing episodes. I'm hoping that it's no less than two a month. So hopefully one encouraging words episode every month, like I used to do, and one other episode. And I can't imagine that it'll be more than weekly, except for maybe in some weird something just happened and I'm putting out an extra episode, but otherwise, I can't imagine that it will be more than weekly. And I would doubt that it will be weekly continuously unless my brain and everything starts working a lot better. So, yeah, that's the best that I can tell you on that. But do keep an eye on my YouTube channel as well because my friend Jill convinced me that we should start a YouTube only podcast called Gabbing About Stories. And it's me and my friend Jill Bandemer literally talking about all the different kinds of stories. She's a casting director in LA. We've been friends for 20 years. We both love films and TV. Books are a little bit more me than her. We also just love hearing other people's stories, sharing our own stories, and we laugh a lot. So we are, yeah, we've created this show called Gabbing About Stories, and we've already got three episodes up. Um, we talk a lot about menopause and trying to live a successful life while coping with those kinds of changes and yeah, talking about people in movies and how like why are blonde women in movies usually like the ditzy blonde. We talked about that in episode 3. We talk about a lot, and we talk a lot, period. Jill thinks that this will be really fun if you are cleaning or doing something boring and you just want to hang out with some girlfriends for a little while and, chat with them, which basically would be listening to us chat. And I guess if you talk, we won't hear you unless you put comments on the YouTube episodes. But anyway, at first I thought that's just silly. Nobody's going to want to listen to us talk for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever. And she's like, it's like Twitch, people watching video games for hours. And I'm like, yep, you're right. I don't understand that either. But then I was talking to somebody and then I was like, okay, actually maybe I shouldn't laugh and say I don't understand because when I'm doing really boring work on the computer or around the house, especially like house cleaning or stuff that I just want something else going on in the background, like baking. Like if I make a pie that takes like 3 hours, I have to admit that pretty much every single time I either turn on a podcast or turn on the TV and put on some movie that I've seen 15 times and don't have to watch to know what's happening. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's kind of what we've created. So Gabbing About Stories is mostly long episodes of us just going off on all the rabbit trails and laughing a lot. And hopefully, we will make you laugh a lot. That's kind of the point of it, is to entertain you and, yeah, give you a space to hang out with some people who are fun and nice and make you feel not bored while you're maybe doing stuff that's boring. So, I had so much to say and catch you up on over from the last couple of years in this episode. You might see that I am reading, and now I just have to look at my notes because I went totally off topic right there. So yes, in order to find Gabbing About Stories right now, it is only on YouTube. So you can go to youtube.com/Kitty Bucholtz. And then there's a couple of tabs, and you want to click on the podcast tab and then choose Gabbing About Stories. So as of the day that this goes live, January 4th, 2026, who'd have thought? Well, I guess everyone would have thought 2026 would come, but I'm like, holy cow, I can't believe it's 2026. Just remember watching movies. See here, you can tell I've been hanging out with Jill recently, watching movies where 2026 was like the far distant future. And now here we are. So, anyway, Gabbing About Stories. Check it out if that sounds fun to you. And then the last thought that I had, there's going to be a little bit more reading here because I wanted to make sure I got my thoughts out and I wanted to share them all with you. The last thought I wanted to leave you with is actually the title of this episode, Looking Forward, Not Back. And the reason why I chose this is because the last several years, as I've mentioned to you more than once, have been incredibly tough for me, like all caps, full stop. Well, actually, maybe not a period. It'd be like exclamation points. Um, Unfortunately, there were days when it was really hard just to get out of bed. And I was like lying in bed, Googling depression. What does that mean? How do I get over it? Well, you're supposed to exercise. I'm like, but I don't want to get out of bed. I wonder what exercise I could do in bed. It was really a tough time. And to find something to do that I could accomplish one thing that day, and to feel good for a few minutes that day, had a lot of those days, and it was really hard. And then, of course, because supposedly what I'm told from doctors and people online is that most or all of this is just the hormone changes from menopause and the 5 million different kinds of symptoms. Everybody gets different ones to a different degree. I definitely responded a lot worse to menopause than a lot of my friends did. But looking back, I remember that I responded really badly to hormone changes as a teenager and young adult as well. So I feel like it's probably not unexpected. So for years, I've been telling myself, I can't wait to just get to the other side of this menopause crap, and then I'll feel better and get back to the real Kitty, and then I'll be real Kitty and real happy again. But I keep reading that my brain is literally changing right now, which I have to admit, because if you've been listening, you know how much I love brains and neuroscience. That is very, very, very interesting to me, but I'm not enjoying going through it. But if it is, they're saying that I will literally feel different when it's done rewiring. And what they're saying is that I will feel better. I think what they mean is I'll feel better when it's done than I am in the middle of it. I don't think that they're saying I'm going to feel better than I did before menopause, though some people do seem to be saying that. I don't know. The thing is that it's not the same for everybody. So I can't look at that person or that person or that person and their experience and go, well, if that's what happened to her, then, that's probably what will happen to me. It's hard to say. Um, but the whole rewiring thing, okay, that's cool. It pissed me off a lot for a long time because I like who I used to be and I want the old Kitty back. And I really, really don't like angry Kitty, and I don't like swearing Kitty, and I don't like depressed Kitty. And it's been a really, really long time, way longer than I really expected it to be, and expected being like in quotation marks, because nobody told me anything about this. Again, if you've been listening to me for the on and off for the last couple of years, there's a couple of other not really shows, but there are other videos on my YouTube channel specifically about menopause, talking with other girlfriends who were in the middle of it or have recently gone through it or whatever. Um, I I just yeah, I was just pissed that nobody told me. So I couldn't be prepared. So I had no tools. I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know what was happening. So I didn't know what kind of tool I'm supposed to be looking for. And again, that's why I want to share stuff with you in case you also have been told by no one what's going on or what you could possibly expect or how to deal with it if it happens. But in 2026, I want to do way more sharing you all the YouTube videos that I've been watching. There's a masterclass on masterclass.com with Halle Berry and several doctors talking about, it's like an hour and a half. It's almost like a little hour and a half documentary, really. And that's all on menopause. And then I've got books and podcasts and everything else. And I want to share information because we need to not be uninformed. And also, imagine if I wasn't blindsided by it, my poor husband wouldn't have been blindsided by who is this angry kitty person who yells and is just mad at me all the time and says really horrible things and doesn't get things done around the house and cries all the time. It would have been great if John knew what was coming, what was potentially coming. And again, that's why I want to talk about it in front of everybody, not just women. So that is much more than what I typed in my little paragraph here. So anyway, if I really am becoming possibly not a different person, but if my brain is rewiring and I will somehow be looking at life differently, I don't really know what that means yet because I haven't gone through it all the way. Um, then I don't want to just constantly be looking back because in general, the idea of always looking back and wishing for what you had, we know to be not a healthy coping mechanism or a healthy mechanism in creating a good life today and being in the now. So I am trying to not look back and miss the old Kitty. I am trying to look forward and hope that I'm becoming someone, if not better, then just as good and possibly just different in ways that I don't yet know. Um, so, wherever you are in life, whatever you're feeling about this new year, it's probably a good idea for both of us to have um, this idea. Maybe I'll be a little different this year. Maybe I can't go back to something that I really liked. Maybe I can be someone or do things that are just as good or even better than had been on my radar and in my plans before. So that's where I'm going to try to go with 2026. And I wanted to give you all of these thoughts and ideas early in the year in case any of them were helpful to you. And also just to let you know if you do feel any of these things, you're not alone. And it's not just you and me. Like I keep finding more people where I'm like, oh, thank goodness. I'm not the only one who feels this way or that way. You know, there's nobody who feels exactly like me, who has 100% all the same symptoms and experiences as me. But if we can keep on connecting with different people, then we'll feel like, yeah, not alone, which is really good. So I'll be praying for both of us this year, and we'll see what happens. I mean, when you do look back, just from a historical, how do things, how do literally how do things work out when things seem to be very bad, and then eventually you can look back and go, turned out to be not as bad as I thought, or it was really bad, but then it got better. Like that is the one nice thing about looking backwards. Just try not to do it too much. That's what I'm telling myself now. But in that context, I look back and it seems like God always is showing me how, this was bad, but then this good came out of it, or this was really hard, but then I got tougher or stronger or became somebody who helped other people. That's what I actually have been doing a lot of my focusing on in the last, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, probably since before I started the podcast, honestly, which was if I'm going to go through something really difficult, then I'm going to share it with other people so that at least we can get that out of the experience. We can get the, I can be helpful and encouraging and make someone else feel not alone. So you can also be that person to the people in your life. So, in the meantime, happy questioning things, happy trying to decide what you're going to quit doing so that you can be either happier or more productive or less stressed or get more writing done or whatever. Happy making changes and new choices, and happy new year. I hope you find these encouraging words make your day and your week a little bit brighter. And I hope that you keep tuning in every month as I put out more encouraging words episodes and try to help you live your best life in a way that makes you feel like that was good. That was a good use of time. So I'll get some more episodes out to you soon. And meanwhile, happy writing and happy living. I'll talk to you more soon.